compared to games like Hearthstone and Eternal and the smaller card games is that Hex matches are best of 3. So that means, unlike those other games that also have kind of smaller player population bases, it can take longer to find a match sometimes because people are playing full matches. They're not just like playing a 5 to 10 minute game and then hopping immediately back in the queue. You know, a match with 3 games is taking 15, 20, sometimes even 30 minutes to an hour. This seems pretty good. We've got Deathseeker on 1 into a Blamsmith on 2 that has speed. May or may not want to play... Are my hotkeys not set up on here? Oh, you know what? I definitely... Battle... Yeah, I want to change these. I'll change them to match what I usually use. That it? Yeah, got it. Turbo PA, sweet. Yeah, that's a deck I want to try at some point too. There's probably a lot of speed combo decks in this format. My goal, as I played a gauntlet earlier with a variation of Yodel that didn't end up being particularly good. I'm trying to find a good, like, aggressive or mid-range deck that's fairly cheap to play. So that way people that are interested in trying Immortal can get into it for a minimal cost. Why is there no game audio? Oh, because my setup is not... Do I not have it? Oh, I might have to restart OBS to get game audio, actually. Because I rebooted my system. Not sure... Properties... Stream. Okay, let's try and pop it now. I pop it off to something else and then pop it. You have game audio now? I like the game audio in Hex, so I'm kind of a fan of having it. So... No, I haven't really looked at a ton of different things for Immortal. And, like, the data for Immortal that does exist is, like, by and large, like, not particularly, like, relevant for the most part because, like, there haven't been a lot of relevant events. It's low. The audio is supposed to be low. It's supposed to be low. All right, I can turn it up a touch. It should be background. So this guy is one of the cards that kind of makes Immortal Redlings tick even without Lasgar's Vengeance. I think it says whenever an artifact enters player under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opposing champion. And our hero power here makes Dreadlings that attack, and the Dreadlings are artifacts. So Dreadlings are temporary troops that attack just once. I wonder if I'm supposed to cremate this. Yeah, they're not trading. Okay, so it's a pretty good hit. I'm gonna go ahead and kill their Howling Brave here. It's basically a line of War Elves, like, ramps them. So killing that puts them behind a mana, which is nice. And then next turn, we can scrounge this Dread Apprentice, which requires that I void a troop from my crypt, and then it summons 3 Dreadlings. So those Dreadlings will not only hit my opponent with this... Ooh, so that's a Carnosaur, so that's going to gobble up my War Machinist, I assume, here. Yes, this is a pretty powerful anti-aggro card. When this comes into play, it battles an opposing troop, and whenever a troop they control battles, they gain 2 health. So they're going to kill my thing and gain 2 here. Their champion actually makes a Dreadling too. Huh. Wicked Webspawn is interesting. So I have this Dread Apprentice, which I can scrounge to get 3 Dreadlings, but that's not going to be quite lethal this turn. And Wicked Webspawn says whenever you scrounge something, you get additional Dreadlings. So if I play the Webspawn this turn, next turn I'll be able to make 5 Dreadlings, which seems appealing. We'll see. I'm pretty sure they're going to take this trade here. Unless they have another Carnosaur in their hand, they might wait on this trade just because if this Carnosaur sticks around, the second Carnosaur allows them to gain extra health. place Wicked Webspawn. There's also a 2/2 that we can attack with next turn. The lack of Lasgar's Vengeance gives us a little bit less reach in this archetype, but the fact that we have like coins and cremates and like dreadlings is really good. Like if we draw like another War Machinist next turn, they should be very dead. This is a pretty powerful card. It looks like the opponent's playing Mono Wild. This is one of the payoffs for being in Mono Wild. This card starts out as a 2/2 with Crush, and says whenever you gain a wild threshold, so play a wild resource or play something like Howling Brave, if the top card of your deck is a troop, you draw it. And at the start of their turn, if they have 5 wild thresholds, this gets +5/+5 permanently. So this thing's going to get out of control very quickly, so we want to look to close the game out before this can become relevant. So I'm going to go ahead and scrounge this, which is going to put 5 Dreadlings into play, 2 from my Wicked Webspawn and 2 from that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and smash here. They're at 7. They actually have to block both of these, right? And, like, they can block both of them, like, this trades here and this trades here, but, like, we took that off the table, which is nice. Let me go ahead and play this out and pass the turn. So putting them to 2 is great for us because it means if we draw a Necropolis coin or if we draw a Cremate, they're dead to that. We're going to need to draw a piece of reach at this point. Crusader is also lethal because it's speed. Any of our speed threats are lethal at this point. So speed threats, coins, cremates are all lethal. It's a shard. I think I'm actually going to hold on to this. So the shard enables my champion power, but like making 1 Dreadling right now isn't meaningful. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold this to like not let my opponent know that I could have my champion power on demand, basically. Hopefully, copies of Carnosaur are their only way to gain health in the main deck. That's pretty scary. So that's a 5/5 that when it dies, it turns into a 2/2. And when the 2/2 hits us, it turns back into the 5/5. So it's just a very, very resilient, difficult to deal with threat. They don't have another resource, though, which means they don't get to trigger momentum on Exalted Pathfinders. That's nice. So our speed threats are no longer lethal here, but our coins and our cremates still are. I'm going to play this out. I don't think I want to hold 2 resources. So this is a utility resource that can make a 1/1 worker bot if we have a dwarf. And being able to like make random dwarves is useful, or 1 random robot is useful because of things like War Machinist, which deals damage when an artifact comes into play. That's not even really that awkward. We got a lot of good draws here. And, like, we're very close to having our opponent dead. And, like, they had a Carnosaur on 2 or 3 or whatever. And we had, like, this is, like, 7 resources in. And this is 7 resources with no coins and 13 cards. So we're a little flooded. Yeah, potentially. Potentially, speed threat could be lethal because of that. We actually have 2 copies of Dread Apprentice in this list, which makes this potentially lethal as well. Another copy of this. This Exalted Pathfinder is getting kind of scary here. Alright. That being said, they probably need to leave both of these back still, just because otherwise any speed threat is lethal. But I guess like the threat of the champion power, maybe they're okay just dying to that. So again, coins, crusaders, cremates, Dread Apprentices. A lot of good hits. Probably draw shard. Yep. Yep. We still have a little bit of time, assuming the opponent doesn't have any health gain. We can get a couple more draws. We've had a bunch of lethal draws for like 3 turns now. Whoa. Okay, so this is one of the payoffs. Okay, I think that's actually lethal, right? Yeah. So this is a very powerful card. It says when a troop enters play under your control, it gets +1/+1 for each troop in your crypt. So that's why they have this kind of Dreadling mechanic going, because they fill their crypt with all these Dreadling troops. And then the future Dreadlings that they make are very, very large with Oberyn's Eulogy. Alright, so I got a couple copies of Burning Ire here, which is very good against a mono wild deck. Deals 3 damage to a opposing Blood or Wild troop, and then the same amount of damage to that troop's controller. What do I actually want to cut in this matchup? Most of our cards are pretty good here. Gorge is okay, it's just kind of expensive. I mostly have these on the board to deal with Brilliant Anna Relics. So these are mostly on the board. I don't want to cut Cremate in this matchup, I don't think. Is it possible I'm supposed to cut War Machinist just because he's so terrible against... He's so terrible against Carnosaur? We died. They had Oberon's Eulogy. I definitely don't think I want Sabretooth on the play. I'm pretty sure I just want to try and kill them on the play. I'm going to board out a Dread Apprentice and 2 copies of War Machinist. Trimming War Machinist makes Dread Apprentice worse, but War Machinist is pretty bad against... I mean, kinda. That game went till turn 8. I died on their turn 8. So it's like that's kind of not very fair. The format might be aggressive, but like we don't actually know that. Yeah, so you actually can't hear them right now. I'm just gonna let's do that. Let's do that. We got a command. We made a command if the bot's alive. This scene's pretty good. We have you should probably have blood speed gems in it, not that it really matters. We have to go Speedy Blamsmith on 2, Speedy Underworld Crusader on 3. Pretty decent on the play. We have, so this is one of the cards we're talking about. So this is a resource, but if you have too many resources, you can discard it to draw a card and nickel and dime them. You need a diaper change? What do you need? You want a snack? Did you poop? Nope, you're good. Double speed gems are great. But it appears to be AFK. I have 5 minutes to come back before they lose. Alright, God bless. And again, this hand has enough resources in it that... So this is a slow shard when you play it as a resource, so it doesn't make a resource the turn you play it. But the fact that I like already have 3 other resources lined up guaranteed means I'm just going to save this to cycle to deal 2 damage to them. Why is he started at 19, you start at 24? So one of the things that makes Hex, I actually think this is one of the great parts of Hex, is that each player, when you build your deck, you assign a champion to your deck, and the champion not only determines what your champion ability is with this charge power, but it also determines your starting health total. So the health total variations are between 16 and 26, I believe, depending on like what your champion does. So it's a way they kind of balance things. Did I not set my Q key accordingly? Hey, Bearded Coffee Man, thank you very much for the 3-month resubscription, a quarter of a year. Welcome back. So we get to go ahead, and my deck doesn't have any double blood cards in it, but I do have some double ruby cards, I think. So I'll grab a ruby with this, and then we'll go ahead and we'll play this Crusader out. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit my champion power here, which makes a Dreadling for each different race I control. And so this is a Dwarf, and this is a Necrotic, so I make 2 Dreadlings. So we have to go ahead and smash them for 8 here. The kids are mostly feeling better. They've been okay this morning for the most part. They have to be better for 24 hours, though, before we can send them to daycare. That's a 5-5. It's like a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Because like I have more speed troops here, so we just like smash into them. It's like really not that big of a deal, because like if they want it, so Underworld Crusader is like a really powerful card, so when this dies we draw 2 cards and lose 2 health. So like even if they want to eat my 4/4 next turn, like I play Blamsmith, like assuming we miss on a resource, I can play the Blamsmith. That's a Rustbucket Distractor. So Rustbucket Distractor uses the scrounge mechanic, so I have to void a troop in my Cryptcurse, and then it adds the line of text to whatever troop we target. Can't block, so this Wrathwood Master Moss will be relegated to just attacking. This card is very good in these matchups. This was actually one of the big innovations we had in the Redlings deck when we were playing it in Standard, was when we realized that we could just play 4 copies of Rustbucket Distractor and like Crusaders and 5/5s couldn't block anymore. So we'll go ahead and smack them for 6 here, which is going to put them down to 3. And then I think I'm going to play this Deathseeker without scrounging it. So this has the scrounge mechanic as well. But I'm actually going to elicit not to do that, because my opponent has the card called Crocosaur in their hand. That's going to put 2 troops in my discard pile, which then means I can scrounge this Blamsmith for a 5/5 speed troop next turn. What's going on? You want a snack? I don't know what Puebla means. Is there something up here you want? What do you want? That's not a Crocosaur. Yeah, they're pretty good. I wonder if they could have even drawn there. Probably very little. So on the draw in this matchup, I might want to be a little bit more controlling, like bring in some Sabretooths perhaps. What's wrong, dude?
No.
What's wrong? You want some of my lap? Really, no. I guess this War Machinist is an easy cut, because again, just like it's really bad against Carnosaur. Like when you're playing aggro decks against decks that tend to have Carnosaur in them, you generally want to be able to board out all or most of your troops that are gonna let the Carnosaur eat them for free. What's going on, Fintango? Yeah, a lot of the little details in Hex are quite great. I don't think I have anything else that I really want to cut though. I think the Deathseekers are fine to keep in. It's a little awkward that they trade with Howling Brave, but a lot of times they're not going to want to trade Howling Brave anyways. No, I'm just going to go ahead and submit here. Game 3 on the draw might be a little bit tough. Afternoon, the Crafty Dog. "20 months, I feel old." What's going on, Dark Wonders? Welcome back. Thanks for the continued support. It's a long time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need to come up with new resub notifications for 3-year subs. We're gonna have 3-year subs soon. Have a few people getting up there, speaking of old. Are you watching Thomas the Tank Engine in Japanese? Is that what's going on your tablet here? We're watching Japanese Thomas the Tank Engine. You're very cultured, my son. Very cultured. Yeah. You want Pop-Tart? Okay. I think I can hook you up with some Pop-Tart. Huh. You want that? I think I'm gonna keep this. I don't have any ruby. Why doesn't this have a blood? I should fix that after this match. You want Pop-Tart? Okay, there's 2 Pop-Tarts left, so you and Jake can each have 1, okay? What's going on, Serpy? Yeah, Crafty Dog just comes with the territory. Especially with them going to school and daycare and stuff like that now. Just like, children are plague carriers. So like, when you put a bunch of them in the room together, they like transfer plagues around. That's a great draw. That's like exactly what we wanted. I think I want to lead Deathseeker into Emperor's Lackey here. So the Remnant is a dual resource, so this hand was missing our second threshold Ruby, but that's going to go ahead and provide us that. And then hopefully like hit another resource in our next 2 draws, an on-slow shard, so we can just like curve Lackey into Underworld Crusader nicely here. Yeah, I think what they have now might actually be what I had a week or 2 ago, because they have a lot of the same symptoms. All right, sweet. No Karnan 2 is great for us here. Sweet. So do I want to? I think I want to just Lackey this turn. That's actually a fantastic draw, because it means that next turn I can go slow shard, Blamsmith, hit my champ power for 3 Dreadlings, so I'll have a Necrotic, a Shinhare, and a Dwarf. That means we'll hit for like what, 10 next turn, and then we'll have an Underworld Crusader the turn after that. That card's very annoying. So this card, whenever another troop enters play under their control, it gets bigger permanently, and when this hits us, it creates a Rhino for them. It's also just like a 3/3 here, which is kind of a brick wall for us. War Machinist is a great draw, so we get to play this War Machinist here. So War Machinist, not only is it a dwarf, and I don't really want to do this, so I get to go ahead and hit this here, which makes 3 Dreadlings. Then War Machinist deals a damage to my opponent for every one of those Dreadlings, so they're all artifacts entering play. Yeah, I think your line would have been good, Bob, if I hadn't like ripped the perfects here. And they can't croc me next turn. I'm pretty sure I just like take my resource and use my Cremate upstairs, because I want to save this scrounge fodder for the Blamsmith next turn. So they're taking 6 here down to 8, and then no, I don't want to scrounge this. Just want to like 2U. So next turn I can chump block with like my Deathseeker here, so they don't get a Rhino to block with when they attack. They might also just like not attack, depending on like what their hand is composed of. It makes Dreadlings based on the... That's a bitch. So this comes into play, it gains 4 health, and it gets to fight one of my things, so they're gonna get to fight my War Machinist here, I assume. So... that's unfortunate. So I'm pretty obligated to block this Runir Hierophant, because if it hits me, they're going to get a 3/3. So like this isn't going to be able to attack in regardless. So I'm definitely playing this resource. I think we're just scrounging and attacking with the Blamsmith, right? Oh yeah, they're dead actually if they don't chump block. Yeah, because if they don't chump block the Blamsmith here. Oh wait, did I? Alright, I thought I clicked past my attack for a second, but Hex doesn't let you click past her. If they don't chump block here, they're dead, because I get to sacrifice this to make a Blamsack and then cremate them, and the Blamsack will deal 3 damage at my end of turn, and this will deal 2. So, if they don't chump block this, they die. So as when this gets scrounged, it gains the line of text Death Cry, create a Blamsack, which deals 3 damage to your opponent every turn, which is quite excellent. Yeah, they don't know that unless they're watching the stream. I don't know, it might be a conservative just to block anyways, but like there's so much less reach in these decks now that like it might just be right to just take it. I don't know. Obviously we want them to take it because they die, but I think I'm just supposed to pass here now. I've got enough troops in my bin that like I can hold this Cremate, I think, reasonably. Just gonna go ahead and pass. Yep. So I think this turn, if they smash with all of these, I'm actually going to let them hit me with this because the 3/3 doesn't really block any of these very well. So yeah, so if they attack with all of these at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and block a Dreadling, I think. Unless this gets to a point where it's lethal. They're actually getting enough Dreadlings here. This might be lethal. What's going on, Ben? I think at this point, keeping my Lackey in play is valuable. I'm dead probably next turn. Like, next turn's like kind of like the penultimate turn. So I'm gonna let you have your Rhino and make your Rhino a little bit bigger. I'm gonna think they can have something like Lullaby here to make our life really difficult. So they should be dead here, right? Without a Lullaby. Without some kind of interaction, they should be dead here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and scrounge this Cremate to hit their dome for 2 here. And then I'm going to, because when you scrounge Cremate, it gives you a resource back afterwards, so it's basically free. And then I'm going to play Crusader, and I'm going to play Deathseeker. I don't need to scrounge this. And then I'm going to smash with everything here. And then if they block, they're going to take 8 regardless. I guess I didn't even need to play the Deathseeker, right? So I sack. I guess I should just... Actually, I should sack this, right? Because then maybe if they have a Lullaby, I don't die in the backswing, potentially. See if they have Lullaby here or not. They do not. Sweet. Good clean kill for Xerxes. I guess we had +3 on the Blamsmith there, right? So we were 3 over. So for those that are new to Hex or don't remember how the gauntlets work, the gauntlets are... I really like how the gauntlets are structured. It's a $5 or 500 plat entry fee, and you play until you have 5 wins or 3 losses, and you get 1 booster pack per win, and you get 2 extra booster packs if you hit the 5 win mark. Okay, yeah, I like that, Bob. That's probably okay. I'm on the play. I'm going to keep this hand on the play. I think 1-drop into True Drop on the play is, like, pretty reasonable, especially when they're different races. And, like, it's a little resource heavy, but I can cycle this Necropolis coin for a little bit of reach, so I think that's worth keeping. I don't know. Is this deck enough of a longsword for you, Bob? We don't know what the longsword is in this format yet, right? Well, that's pretty fucking brutal. So this deals 1 damage to a champion or troop, and then it goes into this runic mode, where it kind of slides off to the side. I wonder what they're doing in that card. I guess we don't really know. I can't really even say, like, that card seems bad in the format, because we don't know what the format is, right? The longsword involves Cyclone Shaper? Probably. That's a Diamond Ruby resource. They have another runic missile? I think swears are a normal part of the English language that my children are going to hear in public regardless. I'm sure at some point some teacher or some other parent isn't going to appreciate the fact that my children are exposed to that language, but, like, your children are going to get exposed to language like that regardless of whether or not you try to control it. And, like, if you make a big deal out of it, like, if you make it like this taboo thing, it's a bigger deal than it actually is, I think.
Daddy.
I mean, so in the most nice way possible, Jin, I think how little the format's been played, the format is basically irrelevant. Like, the data that we have so far is, like, basically useless in terms of, like, how relevant it is to the current format that we have. I know Rolf is a very good player. Like, Rolf has had plenty of results in other things too. But like, as far as like metagame goes for predicting like what's good in Immortal, I'm basically approaching it from the standpoint of we just... What's up? You want to sit on my lap too? I need to double kid while we're here. Jake's in my lap, so you need to be in my lap too. Ugh. Alright, I guess I can double wield the children. So what are we doing here? We're pretty far behind. I guess we just need to kill this Burning Scarn. They're probably going to have a pretty easy time flipping it back up, though. I like the idea of... I see what they're doing now. The Runic Missile with the Scarn does seem pretty reasonable, especially with Light 'em Up for, like, triggering lots of damage. You want bot toys? I could maybe... My gut says I want a Deathseeker here, plus hit my champion power to, like, make a Dreadling, and then, like, they might chump block that Dreadling, and then next turn I can slam... Next turn I can slam the Blamsmith with speed.
The batteries are not going to buy.
You have plenty of batteries.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Alright, you want bot toys? Thank you for making that command rogue, by the way. There you go.
Batteries.
Yeah, I think I'm just supposed to play this without scrounging. And then hit this to get the guaranteed other troop in my bin. And you know what? He actually got a ruby with that root. I wonder if they're playing roots just to trigger the runic cards on demand. Actually seems pretty sweet. Seems like there's going to be a lot of neat things to explore in this format. I like playing this out aggressively here, just so like I have a blocker for this Burning Scarn potentially, I think. It's okay. You're okay.
Big box.
You have big bots?
That's big.
That's big.
The coin. I get big.
Don't have a blocker for the Scar and get out of here. And like, this is definitely a type of game where like, you know, the lack of Lasgars is like, you feel it. The fact that we've like kept a 5 resource hand and then like, have we actually drawn a non-resources game? We've drawn 2. Yeah, Bidding Sun Soul Phoenixes. They've got 3 action there, but this one they don't really want to avoid because this one comes back. I'm just gonna concede at this point. Let's just go to the next one. We're not winning this game. Like they have a draw 2. They have a draw 2 in the tank. They're gonna re-trigger with their champion power next turn. I just don't have enough resources going on. Deathseeker seems pretty rancid here against their Runic Missile deck, so I'm gonna board all of those out. Gorge of the Gore God is good against Sun Soul Phoenix because it gives the troop -X permanently, so that's gonna follow it to the discard pile. I wonder if Inquisitor of Lumos is probably fine. War Machinist is probably like another card that's kind of a liability just because of its defense. I guess they're not blocking a ton, so Rustbucket Distractor is probably worse than War Machinist. So I'm going to trim 2 of those and bring in these Inquisitors, I think. Do I want these Primordial Sabretooths for killing their Scarns? That's probably not unreasonable. This is actually pretty okay at killing Scarn too. I don't want to overboard too much. How many troops does this leave me with? That's got 28 troops. So I think I'm just going to hit submit here. You don't want to overboard with a deck like this. Again, we're primarily an aggressive deck, so we don't want to like dilute our primary game plan by trying to become too interactive, especially on the play. Like maybe on the draw, where they're likely to have Scarn on the play and run away with things. We'll bring in like trim a War Machinist or 2 and bring in another Sabretooth. Seems like not amazing, but it's fine. We didn't die to the Scarn taunt. We died to not having spells. I kept Mindpyre might be okay actually. Yeah, maybe I'll bring in the Mindpyres and the Sabretooths if we getting in 3 on the draw. Just like trim some more of our 1 defense things. The Hex graphics are great. They're very and the fact that just like the focus gets to be on like the cards that you have in play, so like when you have big board states, you don't have a bunch of lands being cluttered, is quite excellent. We have a pretty good start here. We're going to get to go... Actually, these triple cremates with the Webspawn gets to live are, like, kind of fucking insane, right? So, like, next turn we get to go Remnant into Underworld Crusader into make 2 Dreadlings. Then the following turn we can just, like, go actually insane with these cremates. That's neat. So this says whenever a constant enters play under their control, this deals 2 damage to each opposing champion. I think Hex is, like, art's very subjective, but I think, like, the appeal to what Hex, the way Hex looks is different than Hearthstone. Like, Hearthstone has, like, intentionally cartoony style graphics, and Hex, it feels like it has a more elegant art style to me in a lot of ways. More formal, I guess would be a good way to put it. They're gonna double ping this. That's really unfortunate. If they didn't have lethal for this Wicked Webspawn here, we would have actually killed them next turn, right? Because each of these would have dealt 4. Well then, they definitely would have died. They're actually dead here now, right? I'm pretty sure this is lethal, because these don't actually cost resources. So every one of these deals 2, plus it deals 2 from the 2 Dreadlings we create. So we're just gonna go like cremate you, cremate you, cremate you, just like good clean turn 4 kill. Yeah, this is exactly lethal because they go to 10 and then I'm attacking them for 10. Yeah, and part of that too is because like the Hex cards, like they actually look like cards while they're in play, right? And like Hearthstone, while it's a good game, like the way that they're just like, they're circular when they're in play, like they don't look or feel like actual cards to me by and large. I kind of like the idea of doing this and like trimming these War Machinists. This might be going down too many dwarfs for my limestones. We could get into trouble with that, but they're pretty bad. And I think I'm going to trim this Dread Apprentice since I'm going down in War Machinists. I guess the Sabretooths are like less appealing if they don't have a Skarn draw though. So like maybe just with the Cremates, I don't want these Sabretooths and I want to leave these and this in. Giving us a bit. Well, to be fair, look, no numbers. Magic didn't add that. Arena didn't add that. That was a third-party add-on. But yeah, it's sweet. It'd be nice if someone could make something like that for Magic Online. Like, there's been nothing. The only thing, the fact that Wizards of the Coast doesn't see it necessary to invest R&D dollars into making that themselves, like, really kind of speaks volumes to how much they understand about getting people into their software. Hex, too. Like, the fact that I know Hex has a little team, but I really feel like those would be well-spent development dollars to, like, adding the mouse over type stuff for Twitch. Like, Twitch is basically one of the better advertising methods for your software, and, like, being able to understand, like, what the cards do is a big part of being able to get into card games like this. This hand doesn't have a blood shard, but I'm a professional, so now it does. Just for those that weren't following that, keep quiet. I'm a big proponent of keeping hands like this where you're missing one, just because, God, these fucking arcane missiles, man. He just has them every game. I'm a big fan of keeping speculative hands like this, like, where you just need one specific thing to, like, have a very strong hand. And, like, even with the Runic Missile there, we're still gonna have a pretty strong curve, right? We've got, like, 4-4 on 2 into 4-4 on 3 here, plus, like, hit my champion power, then, like, have a Rustbucket Distractor to, like, get in the way on the way back. That's kind of unfortunate. It's very good removal. Destroy a random artifact or troop. Okay, sweet. They're missing on their 3rd resource drop here, though, which is good for us. Inquisitor of Lumos. Do I just slam that? I think I just want to get this going, right? Yeah, Inquisitor of Lumos is pretty great here. So this is a 2/2 for 2 that says whenever an opponent plays a non-troop, non-resource, this deals damage equal to its power to my opponent. So every time they play a non-troop, non-resource, they're going to take 2. We haven't done any damage here yet, but I feel like we're in an okay spot. Yeah, like here, you have a 1/1. Enjoy. They get their light up back now, but like that's really not that big of a deal. They want to play their light up again. They're going to take 2 again. So like this is already done. This has already done 6 points of damage to my opponent, which is just quite excellent. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wow, fuck. So this card is a 4/2 with flight and speed that costs 6, and says every time you play an action, it gets -2 cost. So they played 3 actions this turn, so both of these were free. That we might have a hard time racing, especially with the double Candlekin in play. Yeah, they're hitting from a lot of pretty powerful angles. Necropolis Coins a good draw, so I get to play this and make a worker bot. I think I am playing this. I don't think I'm hitting my champ power this turn for just 1. Yeah, kind of. It's not symmetrical, and it doesn't trigger... It cares about the type of card, not the cost of the card. And it deals damage based on its power. So if you have there's a lot of cards in Hex that, like, give troops permanent modifiers. So if you're able to make this bigger, they take more damage per thing. I don't actually need to scrounge this, so let's leave the troops in my bin for now, because they're valuable later. I think I just want to be aggressive here. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe with the fact that they, like, have light 'em up going means I'm not going to have enough power to actually cut through, because, like, we're dead in 2 here. Yeah, maybe that was loose. Need to draw, like, Gorge or the Gore God here. It's possible there should be more Gorges in my reserves. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, maybe, like, the fact that, like, Inquisitor of Lumos is, like, my main way to kill them here. But, like, they already have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, like, there's probably a good chance that they could, like, bring back a Phoenix this turn, right? Because, like, in addition to making itself cheaper, this card can return itself to play by avoiding 6 actions from your crypt. I don't know. I might have misassessed my ability to kill them, but I don't know. I don't know, chat. I don't know. Pyre Strike. Yep, down to 12. So I can deal, like, 8 next turn, which is not enough. Yeah, that looks like exactly what they're doing. The double, I think we would have put them in the ground if they would have only had 1 Phoenix on turn 3, but the fact that they had, like, double Phoenix on turn 4 or whatever that was a pretty big deal. Take a cycle here before we concede. Yep. I think MTG bot adjusts the card lookup that it does based on the game you're in. And I don't think it does Hex cards, so I don't think... Magic card. Yeah, there you go. You have to do exclamation point magic card while we're playing another game, because it tries to automatically switch to the game that you're playing. Why is there a ruby gem in one of these? So, this card says... This is a customizable card, so during deck building and between matches and in a gauntlet, you can change what kind of modifier this card has based on what you're doing. So in some matchups, you'll want this to not have speed, you want it to be a little bit more defensive. Oh, that's why one has, because my Cryptcurse Knight has the other one. Look at it, past Jeff knew what he was doing, and you can only have 4 copy of each gem in your deck. Past Jeff knew what he was doing. If you current Jeff is confused. Is this game expensive? It depends on what deck you want to buy. So Hex, unlike a lot of the card games today, is a full trading card game. So it's a buy, sell, trade secondary market. So the price of cards varies depending on what cards you're looking to buy and what's in demand and what's not. This deck, for instance, is probably somewhere in the $50 to $80 range if I had to venture a guess. Some of the decks can get more expensive in the like $200 range, but their current standard format has a lot of good budget options. What we're playing right now is their non-rotating format called Immortal, which is basically brand new. They just added an on-demand queue for it that we're playing currently, so people haven't really explored and really know what decks are good and what decks aren't in this format. Yeah, I think if you hadn't had Double Bird, I would have been pretty close to being in that third game. Yeah, Hex it's free to make an account, you get some cards to start, and there's a PvE portion where you can grind the in-game currency, and just for playing games, your account levels up, which gives you entry into limited events that you can snowball into cards and stuff like that. So, it's free to play, and you are welcome to grind with your time instead of putting in money if you'd like to be. Yeah, especially in non-rotating formats. So one of my goals here, the reason why I wanted to start by playing this Redlings deck is this deck's moderately cheap to build, and I want to find 1 to 2 decks that are like under $100 that are feel competitive in Immortal that I can, like, if people are interested in diving into Immortal, I can recommend they play. Whenever a champion discards a card. So my opponent played a card. There are some variance-powered cards in Hex, but this one's definitely one that you can mitigate on occasion. So this reverts and transforms a troop into an artifact constant or troop with -1 cost. So they turn my 2-drop into a random 1-drop. HexTCG.com is where you can download it from. This unfortunately isn't Underworld either. I think I'm just playing this Emperor's Lackey here. And then, so I have a decision to make here. So my champion power allows me to make a Dreadling for each Underworld race I control. So I could just make one Dreadling this turn, which only hits them for 1, but it puts a troop in my discard pile for like my Rustbucket Distractor later, which is valuable. Or I could wait a turn and like get my Webspawn down and my Rustbucket Distractor. I think I'm gonna wait a turn just because I have this useless O3. And my Emperor's Lackey lets me sacrifice troops on demand. So I can sacrifice this O3 to get something in my bin on demand next turn. Yeah, I plan to stream some Empress too. Empress is another deck that I think is moderately cheap to build. And is very... I also really like Empress as a deck. I think that deck's really sweet. Interesting that they don't have the Valor gem in their Warp Steel here. So, yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play this out, and then I'm going to go ahead and play... I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice the Silent Auctioneer. And then I'm going to play this Wicked Webspawn. And Wicked Webspawn, again, this one says whenever you scrounge something, you get to make 2 Dreadlings. And then we're going to scrounge... Well, that's really unfortunate. Okay, so Runebind puts my card in kind of a stasis state. So that means that it kind of slides off to the side here until we draw a resource. Yeah, if you're going to buy cards outright, so hexprimal.com, you can buy singles from, just like MTGO Traders or Star City Games. And if you're going to buy stuff there, you can use code Jeff5 and save 5% on your stuff there. I think I'm going to make this Depth Crawler not block. I've not played Duelist. It's just hard to get into too many things. Only have so much time for games. Well, if we hit a resource, and like the Runebind's like, it feels a little bit bad, but like now if we draw a resource, that's an okay draw. We're pressuring our opponent a little bit, which is nice. I actually kind of agree that Empress without Find kind of felt okay to me against Turbo PA. I think you had Efficient Disruption combined with Alright, so let's talk about my opponent's cards. People that might not be familiar with them, these cards aren't standard legal anymore. So Flickering Gobbler starts off as a 2/2. We call this Flickering Ship Bucket usually. He's so fucking ugly. So he starts as a 2/2 with Flight and Speed, and he has Rage 1, which means every time he attacks, he gets 1 attack power permanently. And he says at the end of your turn, you have to sacrifice him, or he goes back to your hand if you played an action. So they put Combat Training on this troop, and Combat Training gives the troop +1 power permanently, and gives it the line of text, when this deals damage to your opponent, return all Combat Trainings to your hand. So basically, it allows Flickering Gobbler kind of be self-sustaining here, so he's going to be able to... I think I'm supposed to trade these here. I think I'm supposed to go ahead and block. If they have a quick speed action here, I could get in a little bit of trouble, but I think I'm supposed to try and take this trade because we're kind of losing the race at the moment. I mean, there's always been a few decks in Hex Standard that could be kind of expensive. There's definitely affordable budget decks in Hex's current Standard format, especially with the introduction of the signature decks. Like, you can build a reasonable Diamond Wild Momentum deck, as well as a decent Candles deck for like sub $100. I mean, it's always been hard to sell things through the AH, so like that's not something new. The AH definitely needs some work. We might actually be able to race now with the Blamsmith getting speed. So this card's really sweet because it's like good as a 2/2 with speed on 2, and then it has a mechanic called Scrounge, gives kind of some longevity as we go to the late game. So if we Scrounge, which means we void 3 troops from our crypt, it gets +3/+3, and when it dies, it creates this Blamsack thing that hurts my opponent. Warp Steel's a little bit annoying here because to give my opponent more blockers while they try and race us in the air. Because this Gobbler's getting very large very quickly. So they're going to hit us for 5, 6, 7, 8 this turn, which means I'm potentially dead as early as next turn. Yeah, X is different depending on which card is scrounging. This is a good conservative attack on my opponents. Wait, why did they should have attacked with this because they can't block. That was a bad. They should have attacked with that. I don't think I'm going to work on Terror Mill personally until... Oh, wow, that's such a good fucking draw. So I get to... Is that good enough? I'm not sure if that's good enough. I get to... I don't have 2 troops in my bin. I don't have 2 troops in my bin, though. Am I 1 off? I mean, there's always been decks that have gotten that expensive, Jeb. In fact, I'm just gonna treat this just like a Magic Stream and time you out. Just like, it's just wrong what you're saying. Oh yeah, so I go sacrifice this, which lets me scrounge this one. And then I can sacrifice this one. Oh wait, it doesn't matter. All roads lead to Rome. I don't actually need to scrounge this one, right? Yeah, so that can't block. I get to kill this, and then we attack them for 9. And we actually have 3 extra because of the Blamsmith. Yeah, we had 12 damage. Yeah, we didn't need it. Sorry, I'm slow. I wonder if they're supposed to be... My board is very, very bad in this matchup. I wonder if I'm supposed to have, like, some copies of, like, Burn in my sideboard. Because Cremate's a basic action, so I can never kill Ship Bucket. I'm doing okay, Afara. The kids are kind of better. They're getting there. And probably have to keep them home again tomorrow, so we'll have to see if myself or Christy is staying home with them. Is it a Culmination in Blood matchup? I think this might be a Culmination in Blood matchup, right? How do we feel about that? Yeah, Inquisitor and Culmination in Blood are both the cards I'm thinking about. Yeah, basic actions are sorceries, so Hex, Quick is a super type, so you can put Quick on constants, you can put Quick on troops, etc. I think I want the Inquisitor too. I think my gut says I want to trim the Rustbucket Distractors here, just because if I'm boarding in Culmination, I want less scrounge in my deck, I think. Maybe I just don't want all 3 Inquisitors. Because they don't want people to double dip. I think there is a reason not to, Jin, because then you discourage people from playing Standard as well. So like this way, there's one set of prizes for Immortal, and there's another set of prizes for the other format. I think it makes perfect sense that this doesn't contribute to the latter. Are 3 color strategies viable in Hex? Yeah, Hex's current standard format has a couple different 3-shard decks in it. This hand's okay. It's actually pretty good, right? Be prepared. Have lots of snacks. Order yourself takeout at some point, or have someone at home that can make you an actual meal. That's my best piece of advice. In Immortal, there's actually been a couple different 3-color decks that have been like moderately successful in Immortal, right? But again, like, this format's still kind of new. They've had a couple of, like, larger tournaments that have, like, 60 to 80 people playing in them, but those really aren't that large, and they aren't consistent enough to really develop a format that you can, like, metagame and, like, read reasonable information off of. So this card's very powerful. It's actually a standard legal card. So this is a 2/1 for 2 with flight and speed, and when it attacks, you discard a card, and then you draw a card. So we nicknamed this guy Filterfish, because he filters through your cards. Well, that's the thing. Like, people keep talking about a meta. Like, I don't think Immortal really, like, saying the Immortal meta, like, isn't really describing anything at this current point in time, because there really isn't a metagame for Immortal. Because, like, in order to have a metagame, you need to have people playing the format consistently. Some caffeine is good. Usually I don't need caffeine to get through a 12-hour stream, because, like, you're awake for 12 hours in a day, right? I think there's a pretty good chance Immortal ends up being a lot like Modern, in that there's just going to be a bunch of different decks that a lot of people play, because there's a lot of sweet things that you can be doing, and hopefully they keep the format moderately balanced, so that way there's ooh, that lost us our dwarf, so that means my limestone doesn't make a thing anymore. That's sad. I wanted my limestone to make a thing. Thanks, Rogue. Dwarf. Haha! Activated my dwarf card. Alright, so I'm gonna do this and make a worker bot. I'm gonna play this Emperor's Lackey. Do I have enough of these? I don't think so. Like, do I want to play this out as just a 2-1? Because it is scrounge fodder for this later. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this for now. Just make 2 guys, I think. Transmografade, that's annoying. I'm actually going to go ahead and sacrifice this worker bot, just so I have an extra troop in my bin later to scrounge. Haha, and I still have 2 Underworld types, which is nice. Sure. Yeah, I agree, Bob. I agree. There's also value in, like, holding this with, if I still had the other thing that lets me sacrifice, because if I can scrounge for it. No, it reverts all of it. So revert means, revert is a keyword in Hex that means take this card and turn it back to the original card that it was when you put it in your deck. What is Teapot? Is that like an old Hex meme? I don't know. I don't know what Teapot means. I don't know what that refers to. I forgot how good Ivan Slagpot is in these aggressive, like, mirror matches, just because, like, our starting health total is 24 is so good. They must have good cards in their hand if they bend another Filterfish here. They have, like, a Warp Steel here. That'll probably be good at some point. So Culmination of Blood is a card that gets 1 cheaper for every troop in both discards piles, and it makes my opponent discard their hand. Oh, I forgot I boarded in Culmination of Blood. I should probably be conscious of that, because I do need a second blood here at some point. Although I don't think I had the opportunity to make a second blood this game, so it's not like I really punted. Oh, there's Burn. So Culmination is going to cost as little as 4 next turn now, which means they have so much removal in their deck, which means we could kind of discard their hand. I'm probably going to hold this even if we hit the blood until they have a Flickering Gobbler. No, so there's your actual cards are your resources. You have actual resources in your deck. Hex has a lot of good mechanics to allow things like Flood and Screw to feel less bad or happen less often. One of the big ways they have that have Flood happen or Flood feel less bad is a lot of your resources give you something called a charge, and every so many charges you get to activate your champion ability. I do have 5 troops in there, so that means I'm going to get to play this Deathseeker out with double scrounge, I think. Am I just going to kill their Filterfish? I probably just want to kill their Filterfish, right? I think I do. This is like giving them just too much selection. I don't want to scrounge this. This is set, and this has a fantasy-esque setting. I guess if I double scrounge here, my Culmination is going to be super expensive, which is awkward. This game is very similar to Magic. This is like what Magic would probably be if Magic was created in the 21st century instead of being created in 1993. Am I supposed to scrounge this? So scrounging can give this rage, which means it attacks bigger, and then Deathcry, it puts this back in my hand. They've already played 2 Return to Cinder, so they might not have many more of that card. Yeah, I can't cast Culmination anyways. Yeah, that's fair. So I'm gonna double scrounge. If I get Runebound, I'm gonna feel real bad. There's probably a good chance they don't have a ton of Runebinds left in their deck. They Return to Cinder also feels really bad. They have a third one of those, maybe. Transmog is also bad. Yeah, that was loose. I just shouldn't have done that. I should have put Rage on it. I shouldn't have scrounged it with Deathcry. Yeah, I think Runebind and Transmogrifade and Return. Wow, it's really they have a ton of cheap interaction. They have Return to Cinder, Burns, and Transmogs. That's so many. Yeah, I definitely. What the fuck? I'm definitely streaming in the wrong category. Maybe my Twitch browser. That's weird that the name updated, but the game actual game didn't. And sorry for streaming in the wrong channel. Yeah, and there's the Gobblers. Like, I'm gonna draw a Blood Shard. Oh, I didn't draw a Blood Shard anyways. I think we're gonna die to that Gobbler. Cause like, even if I draw a Blood Shard, I like don't have enough at this point. Different strokes for different folks. It's like, how many, you know, I don't play Commander, but there's plenty of people that enjoy Commander and Magic. I don't play Limited, but there's plenty of people that enjoy Limited. Yeah, I think we're dead here. We are no longer in the Magic category. It's been fixed. My browser page must not have been synced after my computer came out of suspend. If we draw blood here, we could have won this game. Gosh, so close. Alright, we get to play next game on the play. I'm just gonna erase them on the play. I'm gonna cut these culminations. Fuck it. No, I don't play in Grand Prix. They're a waste of money. I am not sure how PvP tools works or has been updated or adjusted with the introduction of Immortal. I'd assume that's going to require some update on Fred's back end. Wow, never mind, it's already up there. But yeah, you can't watch it, you can't look at it immediately. Is my O3 on here? My O3 from earlier on here? Nope, that one's not my O3. There are some other O3s though. So one of the things that is sweet about Hex is that they love to share the data. So you can't. Well, Jin, I'm not saying support Immortal in general as a format. I'm saying he had to update something to add the Gauntlet runs for Immortal because Gauntlets are new as of this morning, as of last night. So, like, it looks like he's already done that, but he definitely had to add something to support that. You are correct in that there were Immortal events listed on his page. I'm gonna go ahead and slam this Inquisitor, because even if they have an answer to it, they're gonna take 2. I guess maybe you could make an argument for playing Matriarch there. Wow, no answer is fantastic for us. What is in their hand? They have so many one-cost interactions. Whoa, they left that in against us. That's really good. Well, this Matriarch is going to run them down. So, Matriarch's a really powerful card. This is every time you play a Ruby Threshold, she gets 1/1 larger. And then eventually, if we have 5 Ruby Thresholds, she does some extra stuff. But for now, she's just, like, smarking them. Like, they're going to get to draw a bunch of cards here. We're like, smark you for 9, go. We have this Necropolis coin to cycle for 2 and pick up another card. They're taking at least 2 to answer this. Because every time they play a non-resource, non-troop, they take 2. And they're dead. Sweet. So that puts us to 3-1. So, on the Hex ladder, as soon as you finish a match, you can go look and see what your opponent's deck was playing. It's different than Eidolon because it doesn't care about casting cost and it cares about the troops' power. It's similar in that it's good against like action-based combo decks. This is funny. My children are used to sleeping through noise. They are both falling asleep on the couch there. That's fun. They're adorable. That seems pretty good. Get to go Shard, Deathseeker, and Emperor's Lackey on the play. Turn over and pile Dread them so they know who's boss. I'm gonna be slightly quieter and just, you know, let them sleep for a bit. They both napped for like 2 hours yesterday. You can tell they're sick because they don't sleep of their own accord in the middle of the day like that. How much Hex am I planning on playing today? It depends on how cooperative my children are. If they sleep for a couple of hours here, I might load up a second deck after this. Might load up some Turbo PA and give that a try. Yeah, Cyclone Shaper. Get my phone off the desk so it doesn't vibrate. So you want to wait to play the Remnant if possible because this deals damage to us if we don't have these like double thresholds for both. So if I have another shard that can like make a threshold that I care about, I want to wait on that. Exalted Pathfinder is very different than Tyler's Tracker. It's a lot better in a lot of ways. We'll probably play shitty Syzygy decks at some point. As a heads up for people that are watching that are familiar with my Magic content, I fully intend to attempt to monetize some of my Hex streams the same way I do Magic. So if anybody's... I have a fully loaded Hex account that's got most cards on it for Constructed. So if you're interested in donating for me to play a specific Hex deck, you are welcome to do that. For a $10 donation, we'll play a deck of your choosing through an Immortal Gauntlet. Feel like the pause on this felt like they had a Transmogrifade here. You have a Runebind. Okay, sure. So again, Runebind takes a card and puts it into that stasis state, slides it off to the side. The fact that I have this coin to cycle is actually pretty good because it can help us find a resource faster, which is nice. How much Hex will I be playing now that Immortal is live? My goal is to stream a minimum of 2 gauntlets per week, but again, this is hobby time, this is not work time. The only reason I'm streaming Hex during the day today is because the kids are home, so I'm not streaming Magic while the kids are home since that's work now. I actually played against Steric earlier, and they were playing Tri-Shard, Sapphire, Blood, Diamond, Control, but this could be a different gauntlet from them. So my hope is to stream a minimum of 2 gauntlets a week, and if there are people interested in donating to see more Hex gauntlets, like the more donations I get for decks, the more incentivized I am to prioritize more time for it. But other than that, it's just going to be me playing as I have time and feel like playing. This is my hobby, right? Like I'm lucky in that like my hobby gets to overlap with like actual work. Like they're basically the same thing. I just play different games. That's pretty good. Huh. So, wow, are they dead? They're pretty close to dead. So I'm going to sacrifice my Deathseeker here. And I'm going to scrounge this Blamsmith. Which gives it +3/+3. And it makes 2 Dreadlings for my Wicked Webspawn here. So I'm going to go ahead and smash them for... They're 1 off of dead here, right? Because I'm hitting them for 9. And then I could get a Blamsack here, but I'm short. What happened to Standard? They played a little bit of their Standard format. Their current Standard format seems okay. I don't really have... There's a sweet combo deck that I've been playing in it that seems good. But, My plan moving forward is to mostly focus on Immortal and Hex. I think it's, especially with the player base that I have on my channel here, I think people are, I guess this is a card like Extinction is a reason to have sacrificed this last turn, because like now this Blamsmith, I need any Scrounge Troop kills them, any Speed Troop, any coin, but I could have killed them this turn with this if I'd have sacked it last turn. Really, I'm a big fan of non-rotating formats. Well, so I do enjoy playing Magic. I like Hex too. I like Hex better than Magic in some ways and worse than others. But for those of you that are, if you're just here for Hex and you haven't been following my Magic content, I'm making a significant amount of money streaming Magic the Gathering. So, wait, what the fuck? Am I getting comboed? Is that what's currently happening to me? Did I just get combo killed? What the fuck was that? All right, so you may sacrifice a troop. If you do, it gets +3/+3. And then this has customized with bury cards equal to its combined attack and defense. Bury cards equal to... Okay, so they bury 14... Oh, so they bury 21 and then 30? Yeah, that's a combo kill. Okay, sweet. And I punted this. So I should have played around their Extinction on 4 by sacrificing my Blamsmith, and then I would have killed them the turn prior. So it looks like we were a turn short there, but in reality, I made a sequencing mistake and could have played around their Extinction. Yeah, it's really sweet. There are a lot of sweet things to do in this format, I think. All right, so Cremate doesn't seem particularly good here. I'm definitely bringing in these Inquisitors of Lumos. Probably want my Culminations in Blood. Yeah, it is just a 2-card combo. It's a straight 2-card mill you out. I don't know why they're playing Diamond. You'll have to look for their run on PvP tools. I think I'm gonna board out these Rustbucket Distractors, and I'm gonna board in some copies of Sabretooth here, because I'm pretty sure I played this person earlier and they're playing copies of Darkheart in their deck. Maybe Culmination. I'm not even sure if Culmination's supposed to be in this deck. It might not be worth it. My opponent's combo kill there was Mordrum's Gift with the Sacrifice Gem in it, along with that troop socketed with what they had it socketed with, instantly mills out most people. It's going to mill them for 21 and then 30 cards. So it mills 51 cards. So the customizations that my opponent had in their card was bury cards equal to attack plus defense, as well as bury cards equal to attack. And then it enters as a 7/7 and mills 21 cards. And then the Mordrum's Gift gem allows it to sacrifice itself. And then it has rebirth, so it comes back into play as a 10/10 and buries 30. If that's a deck in this format, like that 2-card combo could be a thing. Robo-Goyle is a very reasonable reserves card, because you just like put one Robo-Goyle in your board and then potentially kill them the next turn. Doesn't seem completely unreasonable. Sounds pretty good. To go War Machinist on 1, Wicked Webspawn on 2. Like, pound my champion power, then, like, start scrounging Deathseekers. And here's the nice thing, chat. So I'm 3-1 in this gauntlet right now. That basically pays for itself. It's very, very close. If you go 3-3 in a gauntlet, you lose, like, 40 cents worth of in-game currency. And if you go 4-3, you make a small profit. So the win rate that you need, you basically have to 3-3 and then 4-3 every other gauntlet to break even playing. And if you're doing better than that, you turn a profit. And actually just going 3-3 and 4-3, breaking even mostly, that gives you a chance to proc what Hex calls primal packs to actually make a pretty significant profit. Primal packs are special packs that have a 2% chance to proc every time the game generates a pack. And a primal pack has... what is it, like 3 legendaries and 9 rares in it or something like that? What is Soul Severance? If they have a transmog here, they're probably going to transmog us. It's two legendaries, 13 rares? Sure, that sounds right. Some obnoxious amount of rare cards. Yep. Yeah, I remember back before we had the ladder and there were standard gauntlets, I would mostly break even, and then occasionally you'd proc a primal and then turn a profit. Huh. So I think I'm gonna play this Deathseeker because then it guarantees I make 3 Dreadlings here. And then this is gonna make 3 Dreadlings, which hits them for 3, then we attack. That's a little annoying. If they don't have a way to interact with our board, this Dread Apprentice will be very lethal next turn. Yeah, Yassi was actually my first win in this gauntlet of before I started streaming. I played it this morning before I took the kids out. Well then, the extra resource here means I can play this War Machinist out. War Machinist is really the card that I think gives this archetype legs past the last Guard's Vengeance not being legal anymore. And then once this card comes into play, Dread Apprentice is going to make a bunch of friendos. Is Soul Severance quick? Holy shit, it is. Well then. Look at that. I should know what cards I'm playing around. Yeah, Last Guard's Vengeance is a good card to not have be legal in the format. Yeah, I agree that actually, so one of the things I've been thinking about since I started playing Hearthstone, the more I think about it, the more I think it's kind of silly that Hex bans cards instead of retooling them. And like, there's a bunch of like TCG finance neckbeards in the Hex community that like talk about, well, you can't rebalance a card because that ruins the value of the card. This is a TCG and these cards have values. Well, banning a card so people can't play it also destroys the value of that card. So like, you're hurting the value of the card regardless. So like, maybe they should consider rebalancing things just so people can keep playing with cards they want to play with. The opponent's champion for 3 charges summons a Battle Hopper. I played against Yassi earlier. It's my first match in this league, so we get a rematch here. This person, their deck is a Sapphire Wild Sugar Rush deck, so they're kind of a linear combo deck. By kind of, I mean they're exactly a linear combo deck. Sure, it'll be legal in PvE. Sure. I've never heard the PvE argument before. Alright, so if I do this, I think I'm just supposed to dwarf and smash. We're just like on the Smork plan, right? I just want to kill them before they combo. They have a Runebind here probably. Like ruined by my Lackey, sure. The thing that came up earlier, the fact that Rowdy Piper's a fucking 2/3 is so obnoxious. Like, it's very good against these aggressive decks. Yeah, the fact that this is a 2/3 is like really obnoxious. I think I'm just playing this Blamsmith and smashing here. Yeah, like there's so many little things that they could do, like making Rowdy a 2/2, making Shaper a 2/2. Like there's so many little things that you could do. Yeah, this is basically an aggressive troop based deck. It's probably more the way that Emperor's Lackey works, where it's sacrifice troop. It's probably more akin to like an aristocrat style deck more than anything. that was the best resource to draw, because not only did it set Lackey free, but we get to nickel them with it. I don't think I need to play around to sweeper out of them, so I'm just gonna like put my shit on the table. This is a 3/3, so it's lethal next turn. Yeah, did you? Sweet. Alright. Here's a question. How many burning Ires do I want against just Rowdy Piper? Do I want any? It's like a real question, right? Like how many of this card, if any, do I want? I don't actually know the right answer to that question. I definitely want the Inquisitors and the Mindpyres. I'm not sure if I want Culmination. No, their champion costs 1 less charge to go off with. So they're playing it because it gives weaker units, but it costs less charges to go off with. What am I trimming? Am I trimming Cremates here or Rustbucket Distractors? I'm probably trimming Cremates. So like they don't really kill anything meaningful. I think he had Warp Steel Shard Sworn last time I played too. I'll bring in these Culminations. I think I'm going to go a little bit bigger on the draw. I mean, Noxious Glory seems kind of slow. I guess Noxious Glory seems... It's slow, but maybe it's okay in this matchup. I'm not convinced that I want these Culminations. They don't seem amazing against these combo decks, but they're also probably pretty good at there's a mid-range Kaigu deck in the format, right? I'm going to go turn my child's tablet off since he's asleep. And actually, I'm going to take a picture for my wife because they're kind of adorable. This doesn't seem particularly good, right? What do we think? On the play, it might be borderline keepable. I guess I can cycle a coin on two. What do you think of cycling a coin on two here? You got Inquisitor and double... I'm going to keep this. Or on the draw. This is probably bad on the draw. I don't know. I don't know the answer, chat. Let's draw a 1 or a 2 drop like a professional. We got 2 shots at a 2 drop. We got 1 draw to 1 drop. That's exactly what we wanted for Christmas. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, there should probably be some Noxious Revivals in this reserves. I think that's probably reasonable. Ew. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I think we just want to Inquisitor ASAP. I don't think we can hope to just like have an honest race here with this drop. This is like this looks like a Pipit Hustler turn, right? Is this turn screaming Pipit Hustler to anybody else? I kind of want to play Crusader just because this turn's screaming Pipit Hustler to me. Like, both of them suck to get Hustlered, but like, I think I'd rather get Hustlered. I think I'd rather this get Hustlered. Yeah, relevant TCG related link, sorry, deal in chat. Your deck is sweet, by the way, Stark. Maybe this is playing too scared. Yep, that's just Time Walk. They have like Consult and stuff here. They could potentially start going off. So maybe I should have played the Inquisitor. Maybe I just shouldn't have played Scared. I should have played the Inquisitor. They not have a shard or anything here. That's really good for us. They're just like casting these as like Explore. God bless. God bless. And someone asked earlier how much this deck costs. Once we finish this gauntlet, we can actually look on PvP tools and get an exact price. I'll it'll have the price of our deck on there. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna hit this first because this might encourage them to transmog a Runebind if they have it. I'm gonna play this Inquisitor out post-combat here because they're pretty close to being able to combo at this point. Well, the list you were playing with looks sweet. Wherever it originated from, it looks sweet. I always forget people get kind of touchy about like ownership of decks and TCGs. I think trying to claim ownership for decks and TCGs is just silly. The deck, I should just say the deck you were playing looks great. If they don't find a Hustler or a Runebind or a Transmog here, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They've got three more cards they can play before this kills them. All right, they're drawing a lot of cards here, so they've got one more. So they have to draw exactly Hustler here. Nope, dead. All right, sweet. So I've actually beat Yassi's deck there twice this run. Sweet. So we've made a profit in this gauntlet. So we're 4 wins. So if I win this next match, I get a bonus pack. I get 6 packs, and if I lose this next match, I'll still get 4 packs, which is great, plus some promos. Redlings OP, please. If we 5-2 this gauntlet, I can only conclude that this is the best deck in Immortal and they need to emergency ban it immediately. I appreciate everyone hanging out today. It's good to be playing some Hex again. I'm glad they've made a lot of the changes that they made recently. The kids are currently passed out on the couch. They still had, let's just say, when Declan uses the bathroom, he's currently walking up to me and going, "Daddy, I have poop soup." if that's descriptive enough for you or not. So we still had poop soup this morning. Better concede so they don't ban it. The middle combo deck looks really sweet. Eating ice cream over here. All right, we got a rematch into Yassi. I was wondering how much of this there's going to be. It'll be interesting to see how popular and supported, or how popular, it's already supported, how popular Immortal's going to be moving forward. I feel like there's probably going to be a few people that don't quite get into it right away just because like they're going to wait for like reasonable deck lists to pop up. This hand's going to do buku damage with the champion power. So every one of these War Machinists says when an artifact is played under our control, it pokes our opponent. I got you, Micro Mom. We got you. Bob's like a sniper. He puts him down. Alright, I'm gonna do this, and then I should have attacked first, whatever. They probably weren't gonna transmog this. And the next turn we get to go Webspawn, War Machinist, hit this for 3, deal 6 to them, like attack for a bunch. So Rowdy would be a little annoying here, but like not the end of the world. Hex confirmed his Popular's Legacy, right? Part of me wonders if they might want to adjust their algorithm a little bit, because that did repair for us very quickly. So like, part of me thinks like they should wait a touch before repairing you back into the same person. The Cryptcurse Knight was a great draw, just so aggressive this game. So, Cryptcurse Knight's a really powerful card. In addition to being a 2-1 with speed, whenever it hits my opponent for the first time, it makes another copy of itself here. So when this one hits my opponent, I can get another Cryptcurse Knight. The customization in this changes from game to game. So there are going to be they're like, this one doesn't have speed like the original one did. So every time it hits, it like rolls a random gem basically. All right. Any Scrounge Troop here should be lethal. Hey, Steric, thanks for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome. That should be super fucking lethal, right? So I get to go ahead and play this War Machinist out, and I get to play Wicked Webspawn, and then I get to cremate them, which is going to make 2 Dreadlings, which will dome them for 6. This card is so fucking great. Oh, yeah, taste it. Taste it. The fact that, like, this deck is so competitive, even in a world without Lasgar's Vengeance, like, really makes me think that the Lasgar's Vengeance ban was probably reasonable and worth having. I'm gonna board the same way I did last time. Out 4 Cremates and 3 Deathseekers for Mindpyre Inquisitor Culmination. Cremate is a sorcery speed shock that if you scrounge it, it doesn't cost you any resources. Yep, yeah, it only deals 1, and it's not even just about the raw amount of damage that a card like Cremate deals. Like, the fact that we have, like, Wicked Webspawn, like, generating that scrounge to trigger Wicked Webspawn is a big deal in this deck. So that's a reasonable upside for us. This hand needs another resource or 2, but we're on the draw. That's a great one. I think I'm gonna lead on Necropolis Coin here. This is probably, so this is a utility shard. It can make Ruby, or it can make a 1/1 worker bot, which this can not only chump block, but it can also ping them with War Machinist. But this hand needs a lot of threshold still, so we're probably just going to make a Ruby with this. So the tough part, and the reason why I ultimately didn't put Refuel in this deck list, was that I think a lot of the interactive decks where you would really like a card like Refuel, I think they're gonna tend to board in Cryptate against us anyways. So I think, like, relying more on my reserves post-board in those matchups is not ideal. Or more on my Crypt post reserves in those matchups. Like, I think that's not really what I want to be doing with my life. That was my reason for not doing it, at least. So I think I'm actually going to hit, even though this only makes 1 Dreadling here, I'm actually going to go ahead and hit it, because I'm going to play Mindpyre this turn, and then next turn I can go War Machinist plus Dread Apprentice. So this doesn't actually do anything, so they just get a free block here, but getting the troop in my bin is valuable for future scrounges. Yeah, that's true too. It's hard. It can be hard to, like, set it up. So I'm going to go Blood Shard, War Machinist, Dread Apprentice next turn almost certainly. Mindpyre is a really powerful card against some of these combo decks. It says whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to them. Webspawn is interesting. I don't think it's worth waiting a turn. I think I just want to get my Dread Apprentice in now. Do I? What do we think? What do we think? Is it worth waiting a turn to, like, get this Webspawn going? I think it might be. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to wait a turn. Just because, like, putting more things in my bin for Culmination is really valuable. It's a Pipit Hustler. If they have a Hustler here, we could be in trouble, because they get to hustle the Mindpyre plus block this. Okay, that worked out well. I'm going to do this. They could, like, end step Runebind us and, like, untap and combo us here. Okay, they had the Hustler and just, like, wanted to be conservative here. Yeah, so the kids are currently passed out, Wannabe Beetle, but they could wake up at any point. And if they're good, I can stream, and if they're not. So I didn't want to, like, fire up magic content and have random child noise in the background. Good chance we get comboed here. So this is a really, really powerful card in this deck. So it has a mechanic called Rowdy. So whenever they play a card that costs more than it, its cost goes up by 1 and they get this effect. And its effect is they look at cards in their deck equal to its troops' cost and put one of them in their hand. So they got to just look at 5 cards there and take one of their choosing. So good chance we get comboed here. Zombie Fishin', thank you for the 3-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'll be live tonight with some magic stuff to make up for not being on this afternoon with magic stuff. Assume this is a Consult the Talon. Yep. They're pretty unlikely to break off at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and pack it in. I'm watching the kids right now. Who knows how long? Who knows how long that's gonna last? But we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm happy with how I sideboarded. I don't think I wanna reserve any different. I'm just gonna mix a bit. There is a bunch of, as a random sample, I'm gonna look at the last 3 decks that 5-2'd. Looks like someone had a deck that was approximately $125. Sorry, $105 to build. And then $92 to build. And then $183 to build. So there's a range of stuff. And as always, all of the data is on Hex PvP tools here. So you can just click here, and there's a buy this deck function. Remember, if you buy stuff from Hex Primal, you can save 5% with my discount code there too. So is this a keep? I think this is a keep. I'm not happy about it, but this is a keep. No, I was giving you actual cash prices from Hex Primal and Battle Shopper. This deck's probably somewhere in the $80 to $100 range or $50 range or somewhere in there. Tarek with the $10 donation. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Let me take a peek at my dashboard here so I can read the message. It's good to see you streaming Hex the Dead. Here's a donation for playing Empress. Thank you. I think if the kids cooperate, we're going to try and, or if they continue napping, we're going to play Empress after this. Like, either of these coins was a ruby. I could cycle the coin, though. Could cycle one of the coins. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to go to Necropolis Coin on 1. Well, Wicked Webspawn on 2. Yeah, candles is still standard legal, and I assume there's probably some kind of variation of candles that's going to be competitive in Immortal. Hex's standard format doesn't rotate until set 10, and even then, the candle stuff was set 7s and 8s, so set 5 and 6 are what are going to rotate out with set 10. Dread Apprentice is a good pickup, especially with this War Machinist in my hand. So, like, next turn, I'm going to get to go War Machinist, Blood Shard, Champ Power, crack you for 6 total, cycle this, hit you for 2, and the following turn I can Dread Apprentice if I don't hit a ruby for this. That seems pretty good. If I hit a ruby this turn, I might just, nope, didn't hit a ruby. Alright, so I'm going to do this, and actually, now that I hit the Blamsmith, I'm just going to, like, play him and get in their face, right? Although I guess if I wait on this, I can scrounge more. Yeah, actually, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to wait on that because I have the Wicked Webspawn, and I'm going to make some Dreadlings here. Ooh, that's good. So I really want to hit another a non-slow Shard next turn so I can go second War Machinist, Dread Apprentice. This deck looks a little too competitive for this channel, right? Well, I don't have three troops in my bin, so I can't scrounge this just yet. Shard, please. So I definitely want to do this, right? And then hopefully I don't die next turn. There's a good chance they just kill us next turn. If I'd hit a Shard, would they have died? If I'd have hit a non-slow Shard, I'd have played this. I'd have had this unlocked. Yeah, they'd have died if I'd hit a non-slow Shard. Probably a good chance we're dead here. Hopefully it's just to consult the Talons. Nope. Mastery. If they have mastery, they can't mastery and consult. No, this deck doesn't have any shitty mechanics that make you discard cards at random. Alright, need them to not draw a Mastery of Time here. Deal. They should be dead here. Why did I do that? Because I thought I was going to make Dreadlings off of this. Runebind that one, sure. They must have another Runebind here, right? If they don't have another Runebind, they have to chump block, which is nice. Need a Runebind or a Transmog. If they have to chump block here, that's insane for us. Yeah, Scrounge is a better version of Delve. That's a great way to put it. Scrounge makes the cards modal, and modal cards allow for more decisions and allow for less feel bads. Alright, so they have to draw 3 here, and they have 6 resources now, so that way the other, yep, Eyes of the Heart is good. We could die here. Just like fumbled on our resources a little bit, and Runebinds kind of put us in the ground. Yeah, if I would have had, I think there's a good chance we die here. We'll see. We'll see. Our fate is not in our own hands here, so. And this is why I think some people have played like Redlings decks in the past that only have like 24 resources in them. Like, you definitely want 25 resources in this archetype. Come on, tell me you bricked. 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 Yeah! Sure, yes! Yes! Oh, but I already played my Scrounger out. That's unfortunate. I already played my Scrounger out. They might block enough here that they have to... that this Culmination is castable. They really don't have a lot of other things going on, right? Briar Patch. Alright, that doesn't do anything. Am I supposed to Mindpyre here? I'm probably supposed to Underworld Crusader and just smash them, right? Because they don't have anything going on. Probably just supposed to do this. This is free eats, so I'm not going to do that. Oh, this was free eats too. Yeah, that was terrible. Why did I do that? The Apprentice is free eats too. That is correct. I'm dumb. They could definitely start going again here. Yep. Okay. Alright, so you're saying there's a chance. Yep, I'm just gonna smash with these two. And this Mindpyre here means that, you know, their better draws are not going to be better draws at this point, a lot of them. They're going to take 1 damage on their draw step every turn, and they need to take this off the table before they can fully combo us. Yep. Oh, they have Dreamsmoke Diva too. Dreamsmoke Diva makes it a lot easier to kill this Mindpyre. Lets them, like, dig for Pipit Hustler and stuff. Dreamsmoke Diva makes it pretty impossible for them to brick here too. Yeah, I don't think these Culminations are good. I'm pretty sure they just shouldn't be in my deck. I'm pretty confident saying these Culmination of Blood shouldn't be in my deck. Like, if this Culmination of Blood had just been like another piece of permanent base disruption, we'd have put them in the ground. Yep, take a point. We could get incredibly lucky here and still kill them. Yep. Alright. I believe they're dead, right? The Sugar Rush kills them? Yep. Alright. Alright. We got a bunch of booster packs. I got a X Primal Immortal ticket. So, this is actually a bug, but I feel the need to put an asterisk here for people who are unaware. So I'm streaming from a Linux computer, and one of the... This is actually one of the cards in our deck, so we're going to put a Machinist in our deck once we win some more. One of the things that Chris Woods, one of the Hex developers, nice enough to do for me is there is an unofficial Hex client for Linux. And it appears that when he rebuilt it last time, the Inquisition AAs are not currently listed in this client. So I'll have to file a bug report with Chris so he can get that fixed for us when he has spare time. But the Linux client is not an official Hex client. It's not officially supported. He just builds it for me and a couple other people in the community that use Hex on Linux, so we don't have to deal with wine, which is great. I think we had someone send a donation for Emperor.